If you're tired of the standard business and marketing fundamentals, frameworks, and funnels, you need a little mischief. Get ready to turn up the volume on the CEO Mischief Maker podcast, where you access conversations with seasoned business owners who have smashed through mindset barriers, innovated the standard boring business and marketing playbooks, and executed future-paced strategies with bleeding-edge tools and tactics to micro-fail their way into massive success and growth. We are mindset impact strategic catalysts helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. We are CEO Mischief Makers. Ready to make a little mischief? Hey there, Mischief Maker. You know who I am, and I really hope you're enjoying my conversation with Ashley, because I'm telling you, this might be a scary concept, but please embrace it, okay? Because if you want kick-ass law on your side, you need to do this. So Ashley can work with you in no matter what area of entrepreneurship you're in, no matter what stage of business you're in. If you're a brand new business owner and you're just starting this thing and you're confused, and what is this about, privacy policies and GDPR and cookies, notifications, all that stuff, she can basically take that and give you legal ease of mind without the legalese, right? If you're in the middle and you are already making money and having clients or serving people or selling products or whatever it is, and you need to scale, but there are contracts you're putting in place that are kind of confusing, and people are wanting to work with you, and you're kind of scared about whether or not you're protected and your business is protected, she can work with you. And if you need an outside general counsel, OGC, I think she calls it, where someone's on retainer. And believe me, this monthly rate, when I looked at it, I went, what? Seriously, if you need someone on call, if you are absolutely growing and experiencing that, you need to have Ashley on your side. Legal roadmaps, she has them. Brand protection, she's got it. Podcast legal, she understands. Corporate formation, business entities, you've got her. I would definitely reach out to her. Visit sandstarlaw.com, sandstarlaw.com, and reach out to her. Check her out on Instagram at kickashlaw, and just check her out. I'm telling you, down to earth, willing to answer questions, willing to work with you. And believe me, it's not as scary as you think. I hope that helps. And let's get back to the conversation, shall we? Okay, so welcome back to my wonderful conversation with my friend, Ashley. And we have to take what we talked about on Monday about mindset and now move this into a whole new realm. So Ashley, let me just ask you straight up, what impact are you making for the entrepreneurs that you serve with the legal processes that you provide?
Ultimately, with the legal world, and there's a different layer to it, but at the starting point is the legal platforms, the legal foundations for folks. Because if you have your legal things in place, you have the freedom to create with abandon, which is what we as creators want to do anyway. And legal sounds unfun. That's a new word, unfun. Completely unfun legal. It gets bumped down to the bottom of the list, or it's something that maybe we think we're just going to grab it off the internet and throw our name in there, our company name, and go forward. But at the end of the day, you're not going to rest that way. We rest and we are free to create when we have things locked into place. And once we have the things locked into place, I call it a kick-ass life. I'm Ashley. It's a play on that. People either get it or they completely goes right over their heads.
So fun.
I know, right? But I want you to have a kick-ass life. And the foundation of that is having a kick-ass legal foundation in your business so that you get to do the things.
So here's the deal. I love that. I love what you just said about the fact that, and please understand this, listeners, incredible CEO mischief makers that are listening. What she just said was, once you have this foundation done, you can create with abandon. Okay, think about that. How many analogies do we have all around us that we have to set the stage for? If you are any kind of artist, you're a painter. Well, you don't just sit down to the canvas without all your paints ready. Your brush is washed and ready to go. That's what legal is. If you are a musician, I play the cello. I'm not just going to sit down and play my instrument before I tune it and rosin my bow and do all those things. Once I do all that foundation, I can play with abandon. I can play anything I want. I can walk around the house if I can carry the darn thing, right? It's same thing if you are if you're doing any repairs around the house. You're going to paint your wall. Okay, I know lots of people who paint their own walls, right? Instead of hiring someone to paint, right? You have to tape everything off. You have to wipe the wall down, make sure there's no dust. And these are all foundational things that then you can do the fun thing. If you haven't done that in your business, you're like painting your wall without taping it off. Okay.
I love that. I am totally riffing with that. Like that's, yes, 100%. That's what it is.
So think about that. If you are in business, especially online business, okay, there's a few things that are just standard things that you need to make sure you understand, like having a privacy policy on your website. And now we've got having the cookies notification on your website. I mean, these are basic fundamental things that by law you're supposed to have. But then you add to it, do not ever please go and just take an image off the internet and use it in anything, right? So, I mean, some of these basic foundational things, how I know Ashley here serves like 3 different groups of people, 3 different levels of entrepreneurs. And how are you taking, Ashley, your legal foundations that we were just talking about, just take that piece. How are you innovating that and taking, let's say, a standard, cookie policy on a website or a standard terms of use or privacy policy? How are you innovating those things for each of those different levels of entrepreneurs that you serve?
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about the 3 levels first. And there's no ascension necessarily. There's just a place you find yourself and accept where you are. Number 1, that's starting out. You don't have the money necessarily as you're starting your business to allocate it to an attorney. So can I empower you by training you on the basic things you need to know and help you figure those out so that you've got some base level security in your business? And then the next level is, how do we establish contracts for your relationships with various people? And we can dig into that. And then as your business grows and scales, who do you pick up the phone and talk to when the weird stuff happens? Because the bigger your business gets, the bigger a target you are, or the bigger the negotiations are. And in all 3 of those scenarios, my deepest desire is to empower folks to where you actually need us less. You need lawyers less. There's this vision of the attorney with the telephone and a clock ticking and the meter running and all of that, that just makes me ill when I think about it. That's not what the relationship should be about. It should be a relationship where we walk arm in arm together to build and protect your business. And there are traps for the unwary, particularly the bigger you get, that you just might not even think about. And having somebody walk that path with you and then empower you to spot it yourself, right, is where I want you to be.
Absolutely. And then being able to take, because the law is the law, it's interpretation and it's application that we have to think about. So that same concept, whether it's the basics of making sure you're protected online for someone who's brand new in business, or that middle level where you are growing, but you have contracts that people are expecting you to adhere to and abide by, that could have parts in it that you didn't even know existed. And then all the way up to, oh my gosh, here's what happened with this employee, or here's what happened with this client, and now they're coming back claiming we did something wrong. Ashley, what do I do? All those 3 sections. And I can tell you, I've experienced all of them.
Yeah.
And it's scary. It's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary when you get a letter from someone saying cease and desist, and you didn't even know you were using and using whatever they claim you're using incorrectly. You had no clue that was happening. Believe me, that's not a fun letter you want to get. And if you have someone like Ashley in your corner and you find something online where someone's using your content, then she can send that letter for you on your behalf and protect you and protect the hard work that you've done to create this brand and this intellectual property that you're creating if you're doing anything online. Is that how you innovate? You just look at the different levels of where the business is, and you basically assess what their primary need is in terms of that legal foundation. And I love how when we first met, you were saying you want to put legal protective bubble wrap around your business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tell me more about how that bubble wrap adapts as we go.
Well, I think I want to make law accessible. And I think there's a real trend in law to be more accessible and understandable and empower folks to make their own decisions in business. There are more resources out there. Thank you, Legal Google, and all the things. This is great. But sometimes you need somebody to break it down for you, because do you want to know why lawyers talk so funny? Do you want to know why that cease and desist letter sounded so harsh and like really not kind, probably?
Why?
I'm sorry. Okay, because we don't want to talk like this. Can I tell you real truth? We don't want to talk like the nerd, like in the books that says wherefore and heretofore and wherefore art thou, all the things, right? We don't want to talk like that. But sometimes you draft a contract or you draft a letter to be something that the court or opposing counsel will understand if there is a problem going down the road. And literally, some of this goes back 100 years or more to what we call binding precedent cases that the court has to look at when interpreting a contract or interpreting a cease and desist letter. And so you're really not speaking, you're speaking on behalf of the client, but you're not speaking for somebody to understand. You're speaking to protect them with words that sound archaic and inane and a bit annoying, frankly.
But it's true. I mean, I've had to, with my company messenger funnels, my attorney, who now I'm switching to Ashley because my other attorney is no longer available. But there were at least 5 or 6 cease and desist letters I had to send because someone was using the name of my company as their own, or the name of one of my products as their own. And if you don't protect that, you lose the right to protect it. So
yes,
protect it.
Yes. You spend all this time and love and energy and money and all the things to build a brand. You must protect it. Indeed, before you even build the brand, let's make sure the brand is available. That's a whole conversation. Just because the domain name is available does not mean the brand is available in the trademark world. And then once you build that brand, let's make sure it stays yours legally. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So in that sense, amazing CEO mischief makers who are listening, please take heed. No matter what level, no matter what stage you are in your business, make sure you prep. Make sure the impact you want to leave is protected. And that is Ashley's impact she wants to make in the world. So what an amazing cohesion, what an amazing relationship that you have available to you. Because if you're not prepping your wall beforehand, it's going to get messy. And I'm looking at my walls that need to be painted. Right? Yeah, it's going to get messy, right? Everywhere. Your windows are going to get splattered with paint. It's going to be all over your floor. Do you know? And this is a perfect analogy. How much is it going to cost you to get paint off of your wood floors because you didn't prepare? So how much is it going to cost you in your business to protect yourself because you didn't prepare? So yes, please make sure your impact is protected. And that's exactly what Ashley's here to do. So thank you, dear. That was amazing. Love it, love it, love it.
I'm so happy we got to talk about this. I could talk about it all day.
I know. Is there any, so especially with their impact, is there any piece of advice you can give entrepreneurs to help them, at least in the base level, really think about how their impact needs to be protected? Not necessarily all the legal pieces they need to put in place, because we'll talk about that under strategy and all of those things. But what do they need to think about? How do they need to shift the way they look at what they do to think about how they need to protect it? If that makes sense.
I love this question. Okay. So as we are thinking about legal things, if we take a step back from that, legal is a way to manage relationships. And in the entrepreneurial space, it is all about relationships, either client relationships where you're providing a service or coaching or masterminds or something of that respect. If you have a website, you've got a relationship with the person who visits that site. If you are collaborating with someone, you have a relationship about what you're building together. The clearer we can get about our relationships on the front end, the better those relationships are, the deeper they run, the more lucrative they are, the more joyful they are, and the longer they last, which in this space matters so much. So get really crystal clear up front, have the hard conversations up front with love and light and foresight, and dig deep. That's the best thing I can say.
All right, guys. When have you heard an attorney talk about love and light? And actually impacting your relationships and contracts and all that stuff with love and light. I mean, this lady is it, right? You're done. You don't need to look any further. Talk about completely safeguarding what you're doing with the same intent that you are building your business. You've got it. That was a beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me share.
Okay, hold on. If your mindset was shifted, you were inspired to innovate, and you were spurred into action, don't just move on with your day. Focus, my friend, and take a few minutes to visit CEOmischiefmaker.com to learn more about the value that was shared with you today. Please act now and create some CEO mischief of your own.